So good morning. This is the first live stream that I'm going to attempt, and hopefully not the last, but figured what the heck, before work every day I usually grind arena, maybe run some BGs, take care of some Alliance Quest things. So figured might as well go ahead and try and stream it, see if anybody wants to jump in and join, talk about MCOC, talk about life, talk about whatever. But, figured I'd give it a shot and see how it goes and see how everything's set up, how it sounds, what recommendations and comments other people have, and we'll just kind of go from there and see what happens. Really just going to try to run through my 6 and 7 stars this morning, go ahead and finish up all the milestones in the featured arena, not going for a champion this time, so just, kind of grinding the milestones. Won't be a real long stream this morning. Do have work that I'm kind of monitoring, so may get called away at some point in time. But I'll just go ahead and dive right in and take care of it. So typically with arenas, I try and hit all the milestones every time they come through. Just really in the 6-star arenas, I will sometimes go down and do some of the lower arena just for some extra units and all that. Not free to play, but try to maintain as close to that as possible. I will spend on good deals, won't spend on ones that I don't think are very good. For example, this past set of deals that came through, I did purchase 2 of the $70 bundles so that I could get the T6CC. Used that to take up Black Widow Clairvoyant to rank 5 so that she was ready for Alliance War defense this season. Kind of do what I can there to help the Alliance. I am not kind of the best fighter in the world, so I do whatever I can on that front to offset it with defensive rank ups, things like that. So whatever I can, and fortunately for me, I am in a battle group with some very skilled players, and I hate fighting Spider Gwen. Her evade is obnoxious and annoying. She's one of those I wish wasn't put into arena, but we get through her. But really just typical arena grinds, just kind of going through in the morning and kind of starting my day, get up, get a drink, get some breakfast, take care of my MCOC, play for a little while before I dive into work and get called away and all that. I try to also live stream. I travel quite a bit for work, usually every other week. So I'm going to try to do this on a regular basis. Like I said, not sure it's going to work. It will even be more interesting when I have to try and do this from my laptop instead of my desktop. I think I've got it all configured. I think I've got everything set up right. So, really time will tell. I'll watch this back, and kind of see. But, I'm always open for any, suggestions, any questions, anything along those lines. Feel free to jump in the chat and, let me know. Let's see, just going to do the 5s and the 4s. And really, it's been said by many people before, but really the best thing that has come out in a very long time, in my opinion, for at least for arena grinders, is the Arena Express. It just makes this so much quicker and easier. Sometimes I'll customize teams, but a lot of times, like this morning, I'm just going to do the quick pick and just kind of grind through it as fast as I can. And Cassie's one of those champions I'm really trying to learn to play better. She's going to be used a lot in Alliance War this season. She is a global attacker. She is buff immune. And see, this is where I always mess up. I always start that Fortunately, it didn't get me too bad there. I really got to learn the timing and the spacing of when I can and when I can't. Kind of do her, fade into heavy, whatever it is, that, so that, I can get some more openings, get some more of the power stings, and, get the taunt on. That's something I'm working on, and it's different. It's kind of difficult because it is a little different for every champ. The spacing is a little bit different, the timing's different. So it's really, for someone of my caliber, which I consider myself kind of mediocre, she's kind of a harder champ to learn, but I've been forcing myself to play her in different content. When I run BGs and she shows up, I pick her, whether I'm going to win or lose, just to kind of get some practice with her. That's kind of my testing ground lately for things. I just really try to find those champs that I want to practice and make sure they're in my deck and select them, and use them even when it's not the best matchup in the world. This is another one of the champs, just really trying to get used to playing her. It does help when they're a little bit more aggressive than they typically are in Arena. It's a pain trying to sometimes get them hit into the block, so that you can get the prowess and the other charges up. Really, I think Hulkling is probably one of my favorite champions in the game right now. I really debated on either taking him or Hercules up with the Ascension. Ended up taking Herc just because he makes running incursions, which I try to at least run the Sector 6 ones every month. Kind of going forward, especially now that there's the 7-star incursion crystal, he just makes it so much easier. It is so quick, so easy with Hercules. This past time that I ran him, I think I used maybe 3 revives the whole way, and like I said, I'm not very good. Part of it was I did get a good combination of hacks that I was able to run, but he just, with that immortality and all that, there's just so many things you can do with him in incursions, and the little bit extra damage that you get from the Ascension and a little bit extra health, to me made it worthwhile. I know a lot of people say not to, but I do run him in Alliance Quest all the time. He's one of my main questers when it comes to like any of the acts or the monthly event quest, side quests. Use them for incursions. So to me, just limiting and the item usage in those areas, not that I'm particularly worried about regular questing revives. I think I've got revives always in overflow. Got plenty of the 4-hour crystals, somewhere in the neighborhood of like 700 of them right now. Just simply because I never have to open them, never have a real big need. So, but at the same time, I like running through and trying to finish these things, not using very many items. I have this thing I like to try and finish, at least that content with a full yellow bar. I would love to do that in Alliance War. That's typically not the case, but with the new season starting up, you never know. I've spent more time this off season practicing and trying to stay up to caliber for Loki, just to see what I can do. I typically, past several seasons, start slow and then end up finishing okay. It's hard to explain. I play the game fairly seriously, so I have a tendency to, in some content, like Alliance War, anything that's competition based, I want to do my best. I want to win. So I get a little bit more stressed, a little bit more tense, and that is something that I can easily say does affect my gameplay when I'm in those modes. So really focused on doing some more BGs the first couple of weeks of the season. One, I'm going to be traveling and wanted to hit all the milestones there. Two, wanted to use it to kind of as a practice ground for Alliance War, to be able to reduce some of the stress, reduce some of the, maybe some of the frustration, be able to kind of think on my feet when the plan I had going in isn't working, coming up with a backup plan or a recovery plan or some way of, salvaging the fight without dying. I don't care in Alliance War if I get, have to use all 15 of my items, all 15 of the biggest potions, as long as I can come through and finish the fight without dying, without costing an attack bonus. That's kind of the goal. Battleground's a good spot to do that. Fortunately there, a death is just one of 3 rounds, and even if you mess up both, it is just you that it affects. It's not affecting other people. So arena to me is nice, but I'm able to do things in arena that I would not try typically in Alliance War. You saw the backdraft intercepts there, the medium backup and all that. Once they're over a full yellow bar, I would not do that in Alliance War. The chances of them throwing a special are just too crazy in, with some of the AIs. In the arena, the AI is a little bit more passive. You're able to do things like that and get away with it. And that's also part of my downfall. Like I said, I grind a fair bit of arena. I hit all the milestones every, 3 to 4 days that they run. So, again, to get used to this AI and doing things in here that I typically wouldn't do in other game modes. So, it's probably not the smartest and safest thing how much arena I grind, and getting used to the AI in here, but it's something that I can do that is in a way mindless. Sitting here, catching up on my emails from work and line chat and other things in the morning. It's just something I can do and kind of multitask, and it's kind of why I also started thinking about doing the streams, because I am doing this. I am already used to kind of multitasking, doing, reading my emails and all that. So why not? Might as well put it out there and see what we can do. Do like, and I see Justin has joined. Good morning, sir. How are you? One of the fellow Forlokians. And you guys can laugh. Feel free to roast me in the chat. Do whatever. I know this won't be smooth. Won't be the best at it, but gives me something to do in the morning while I'm waiting for all the folks that I work with that are in Mountain Time and Pacific time zones and all that, and make me work late. So gives me something to do in the mornings until they decide to show up. You'll have to tell me how the audio is and all that, and let me know if it's too loud, too soft. Get somebody else's opinion on it other than mine when I watch it back later. If I do. This is another one of the champions I really do not like fighting in arena. With the passive AI that can be there sometimes he just will not throw specials, and you know, I hate even losing a round in arena, so it's, you know, he can be a pain sometimes. And as much as I like Lady Deathstrike here, I am still always unfamiliar with her animations and when she ends heavies and when she ends specials. And typically don't have to fight against her very often. In here occasionally. I don't think I've ever had to fight against one in an honest war. Not a lot of people run her in battlegrounds. So game sounds considerably louder. Let me turn it down some. I could probably talk up some. I'm not talking real loud, but see how that goes. The game sound is probably much better than having to listen to me anyway. And Spot is another one that I've got to learn to fight a little bit more. I know how to fight him. I know that I've got to, you know, counter his specials. It's just getting the timing right, especially on the special one to counter to keep him from gaining his spots for a few seconds is usually the thing that I miss. I miss the dex on that last little bit of his special one, and if you don't have it timed right, you know, you go back in and good chance he's going to parry you into oblivion. And there we go. He is now untouchable. Such an annoying champion to fight. There we go. That should finish him off. Hopefully, I'm hoping today that they announce the okay, I'll move it up a little bit. Hopefully today they announce that or put the loyalty crystal in the loyalty store. Kind of thinking that they were waiting for the start of the Alliance War season to do the revamp on that store. So I hadn't checked this morning. Nope, got to go ahead and buy a couple of those. Have those in the overflow for the season. It doesn't look like any changes in here as of yet. Let me get my potion for overflow. Yep, nothing new in there. Let's see, I have the 3-minute boost reset. Not yet. So I'll pick up a new set of those when those reset. Let's see, I don't know, what am I at? I'm on almost 4.982. If we were won that last war, it would have been over 5, so I'm hoping that's good for at least a couple months of loyalty crystals. I have a feeling, kind of like Legacy said, that they're going to do a cap, you know, once a month with a refresh or something like that. But, you know, if not, heck, you know, let me buy a couple of them right up front. You know, I'm not sure exactly who I want out of there. Wouldn't mind Void if I could dupe them. I think Mordo would be annoying as hell as a 7-star rank 2. You know, my luck, I'm going to pull Howard the Duck, because I think I've got every tech 7-star in the basic and from the Incursions Crystal. So, you know, I'm going to be one of those people that picks Civil Warrior. You know, I just have to keep that tech string alive. And hopefully that keeps that way until I can get my first Titan Crystal, and then I can pull Warlock. Oh yay. No specials. There we go. Quicksilver's another one of those that any champion that has that kind of double hit on the last, I always have trouble comboing into specials. You know, a lot of them you can get away with just using a light attack at the end and, you know, with the one hit to combo into the special, but finding the timing out on it to get to where they don't block it, I'm about 50-50 on, especially with Quicksilver. Valkyrie's one of those champs I would love to take up to rank 5, but I just always keep finding somebody else to take up. Instead of her, I took up Kingpin. I've taken up Nick Fury as my 2 skill. I am sitting at 2.5, I think, skill T6. She may be my next, depending on who I get from, you know, crystals. You know, really trying to start thinking about focusing more and more on the 7-star rank ups versus taking 6R 5s. But I still find that the rank 5s are useful for almost everything we do, you know, especially depending on what they do with the Ascension, you know, Dust, whatever it was called. You know, that would be nice if they put that out on a fairly regular basis so you can maybe ascend 6 stars. I wouldn't think every month, maybe every other month. You know, every 3 months, something like that. Maybe every war season would be nice if they put the Dust in there as part of the rewards. You know, not sure if they've said, and I've missed it, where they're going to put it going forward. You know, haven't really read that much on the forums on it outside of what was going on this month. So but at least with, you know, a lot of the game mats, they are, you know, all your catalysts, the you know, your basic stuff to rank up champs. You know, it's very easy to get them to R4. I've got a lot of T5 basic, you know, T2A in overflow. I think last I looked, I had almost 100 T5 basic in my overflow. You know, it's just crazy how much they've opened the floodgates on that. So I'm hoping over time that they open them up a little bit more for the T6. Doubt they will anytime soon, but would be nice. You know, between incursions, battlegrounds, glory store, you know, I'm able to get usually 6 or so every other week. So, you know, you can take up, you know, R4s aren't a big deal anymore. That's a fairly easy rank up, fairly safe to do. R5s and rank 2s, I'd still love to be able to have just a few more of the T6CC coming through in the game to be able to do that a little bit more often without having to buy them. You know, I know that's still their cash cow is still the T6CC, so I don't expect them to open it up dramatically anytime soon, but just a little bit more available than what they've got. You know, I like buying the 50% that you can get out of the Battleground store. I don't typically do the selectors. You know, I just buy the regular crystals. The ones in the Glory store are nice, but after I think probably the second one, they become way too expensive to buy. And then there's just not enough in other game modes to really warrant anything. And unfortunately, this will be one of the last arena grinds for at least a month that I do with recoil masteries on. I really, you know, kind of join the choir of people saying, I wish Kabam would get some presets for Alliance War like they have for Battlegrounds. It'd be so nice just to be able to keep recoils on almost all the time for Arena and for Event Quest and things like that. It's nice in Battlegrounds. I don't have to worry about changing them. You've got the preset in there. This new way, with the Alliance War, with it starts on, I guess this evening at about 7 o'clock will be match, but you got to keep your recoils on between time matchmaking starts and it just becomes too much of a hassle trying to remember when to do it. I actually, for the Alliance, created a little bot that will send out a reminder to everybody. It's just not a very well implemented system. It's really clunky. I really wish that they would do a little bit more with it. I like the new map. I didn't think I was going to at first. The first iteration of the layout was horrible. Couldn't follow it, couldn't see it. The new map and the new layout I really like. Getting those first 4 fights done, very quick, all grouped together there. Still a little bit of energy spend in there. I wish they would have gotten rid of, in between that first and second island. They've got that little connecting energy drain that's in there. Granted, you can, we typically work together and it's not a big deal, but that's just kind of a, I know it allows you, and it probably allowed them to do the jump between the, so that you can change paths between the first and second area, make it look a little cleaner, a little bit easier on the eyes, but it's still just an extra little bit of energy that gets thrown in there that, for some reason they love to do. But the other good thing with it is, and what I've got to stock up on here fairly soon, are the full energy refills for Alliance War. I foresee this season being a little bit easier on boosts than it has been in some others. Last season was probably my worst as far as, my boost usage went. It was, boosting 2, 3, 4 times per war. And when you're doing, 30% green boosts and, the 20% health and 15% attack, it starts adding up and gets rather expensive, especially when you're not that great and you're ending up having to heal very, very often. It was a very, very expensive season for me to take place in. I really, before they made the change in the map, before they made the change in rewards, really considered stepping back. Primarily this season. But one of the things that I looked at was, joining one of the alliances that focused on Battlegrounds. But unfortunately, with the travel that I've got coming up, I've got, I think, 2 trips over the course of the next 3 weeks to California, and I'm on the East Coast, so it's a 5 or 6 hour flight. It's a long day. It's in an airport, so I lose that time there. When I'm working on site, can't really have my phone out and do what I'm doing right now. Fortunately for me, I work from home, so I can sit here and I can do this with my work computer up on one monitor and this up on another. It just kind of allows me a little bit more flexibility to do things in game during the day. But I just couldn't see focusing on Battlegrounds and trying to hit minimums in there. There's just not going to be any way. I can do Alliance Quest, after work, on a lunch break, can kind of do Alliance War the same way. It's not quite the time sink. I don't mind, the time for Alliance Quest. It's fairly quick. I tend to use energy as it comes. I will, join AQ, run my 6 energy out, wait until I've got, about 5 energy, and then by that time I can run my path in the second section, clear that. I could play in an airport, and I do. I just don't do competitive modes in an airport. You know airports about as well as I do. You know, the connections usually aren't the greatest. Um, and it's not so much the airport time as it's the airplane time. I can grind arena, you know, with in-flight Wi-Fi, doing battlegrounds or alliance war. You know, just there's no way. Um, you know, not really ever had any big issues with disconnects and all that on the airplanes, but you never know. Um, you know, fortunately, Delta does have, you know, free in-flight Wi-Fi, so it just kind of makes it nice, gives me something to do. You know, the other thing, you know, now is, you know, how many devices am I going to log on to while I'm in the plane? You know, it's football season. You know, most of my flights, you know, at least flying out are on Sundays. So I usually have, you know, at least one football game streaming, either on my phone or I'll break out my iPad and then have my phone and be doing um, arena and other things. But the downside to it is on Sundays, the Sunday arenas are terrible. So, you know, finding things to do there is not the easiest. And I get too frustrated when I play Battlegrounds and I don't know if the people next to me really want me pounding on the seat and throwing my phone and, you know, being like I can get when I get mad at myself. So, and one of these days I need one more rank 4 for even teams. Let's go. No, never mind. Good, it didn't take it. Let's go that way. Yeah, you know, it's trying to do that in the air is just a sure way to lose. You know, if the fight loads, great, but you know, I know, you know, arena, if I disconnect in the middle of a fight, most of the times it doesn't really ever show. You know, it may, and if I lose a round in arena, it's not the biggest deal in the world. You know, I'm not good enough at BGs to lose 100 plus points in a day and not be mad and want to throw my phone and, you know, stop playing the game. You know, I think right now in BGs I'm only at maybe 125 points, somewhere in that range. You know, I've been kind of got to the circuit fairly quick. I was there within the first week and then just really haven't focused and done much since then. You know, been trying to get my units back up because I did spend and get the 10K deal for Iron Man so that I could take him to R5, which I'm glad I did. You know, I'm not using him a whole lot, but for this meta, you know, he's pretty good, and he's very, very tanky if you have to throw him on defense. You know, that last 15-20% of his health when you have to put him on defense, you know, he's got his armor ups, he's got the heals, he just takes a ton of damage to get down. All right, and let's piss somebody off in arena and throw Cable in there so that they have to fight an APOC with all 4 prowess. Let's just go that way. And another one of those champions I'm not really sure how to fight with a variety of different champs. I know how to fight them pretty well with Hulkling. You know, he's fairly easy. You wait for that first armor up to disappear, get a pierce from Hulkling on there, and he doesn't gain armor ups the rest of the way. You know, kind of same if you fight him with Valkyrie. You know, a lot of champs I just end up doing, you know, 4-hit combos, never finishing the combo and all that, so I don't get the auto block in there. You know, Jessica here is another one of those that can be tricky. I just don't ever throw a special with her. Alrighty, Justin, we'll talk to you later, man. Thanks for stopping by. Alright, got some 6 stars are done. Let's go ahead and just clear this out. Get my 7 stars run. and we will be done for this arena and ready for the new meta and BGs this afternoon. Let's see. We'll just run that team. Not sure if anyone else is there at the moment and watching, but if you are, thank you for stopping by and joining. This is the inaugural live stream that I'm doing. I've done a couple tests. I think I've maybe live streamed a crystal opening once a long time ago, but just trying to determine if this is something I want to do, how to do it, get everything set up. This is just a quick arena grind in the morning. I think after I run my 7 stars here, I'm actually going to be done, and we'll shut down the stream for now. That way I can have time to watch it back before I get into a lot of my work day. And then, if it works, I may do this on a regular basis in the morning. Kind of choosing the morning time for streams. There are a lot of streamers that do things at night, already. Morning is kind of my most flexible time. I said earlier, I work with a lot of people that are in different time zones than me. I'm in, the East Coast. A large portion of my team that I work with and that work for me are in either Texas or California. So typically, it's like right now, it's 6, 7 o'clock, for them. So not a whole lot going on, and I tend to be up 6, 7 o'clock Eastern time. So don't expect a whole lot of people to join the live streams during those times. But for those people that are like me, it gives an alternative to watching a playback of BG streams or Abdo, the Intoxicated Gamer. You can do the playbacks on him. I know KT will stream sometimes in the mornings, but now that he's kind of moved out of London and back in, I can't even remember what country he's from, but he's there. It's not as frequent and not as often. So if I can maybe fill the space, the void that was left there. I did see, I think Dementia was streaming earlier this morning, and maybe some of the other ones that are in some of the other countries do, but maybe I can fill in a gap in there and get a few people to watch, and people can join and say hi, just kind of like Phoenix. How's it going, man? How's things? People can see, someone stream this game that isn't as good as, a lot of the other streamers, and that's kind of one of the things that, always frustrated me. I watch, usually watch the replays every morning from BG, and I'll watch KT, and, kind of watch them play, and, they make it look so easy, especially in BGs. I'll get frustrated a lot because, I'll watch KT play or Brian, and they'll just get hit, they'll get pounded on, and still somehow manage to win the round. For me, a lot of times it's like I finish with 99.8% health, and I'll lose because the other person, was flawless and 10 seconds faster. That just seems to be my luck with, in there, and it, like I said, it frustrates the heck out of me. So, yeah, I wish I could do that, Phoenix. It would be nice to play at a more relaxed pace every once in a while, but it's not in my nature. I obsess over things. If I'm going to play this, I'm going to play it and hit every milestone, do everything I can in there. 100% complete everything, and if I'm going to do that, I might as well be getting the rewards from being at the high end. Just kind of who it is in my nature. I still don't like Alliance War. I don't like high-end Alliance War. It is my least favorite game mode, but, I'll do it. Unfortunately, fortunately for Loki, for a higher-end Alliance is pretty lenient as far as the deaths go. You know, we all die. You know, it is just going to happen. You know, I think, you know, it's a big deal when somebody does get a deathless season, kind of like Legacy got. You know, last season he finally got his. I think that was his first deathless season. You know, I've had one where I've had, you know, I think lowest was 3 deaths maybe. Um, but I'm hoping to change that this coming season. Like I said, I've been practicing, been doing more BGs, you know, taking even the off-season wars a little bit more serious, going in, not necessarily boosting, but, you know, making sure that I'm picking champs that I want to learn, that I want to test out in the meta, and just trying some different interactions that way instead of just grabbing, you know, Hercules and running through and just getting in and out of it and not caring about the matchup and not caring if I die because, you know, the one loyalty revives. But so I think this may be my last round. It's about 9:30 my time. Probably should do a little bit of work before everybody gets in. But and I don't even know how long I've been going at this point. Probably been close to an hour. So I think that'll be a good first run at it, a good first attempt. And like I said, hopefully there'll be more that I'll do in the coming weeks. Yeah, we're about 50 minutes in, so that's not too bad. And this is another one. I know several people don't like Falcon. I wouldn't mind awakening him as a 7-star. Kind of, you know, a little bit boring to play, a little bit awkward to get the lock on times, but, you know, just hit that lock on ability for some fights, you know, just is so powerful. You know, being able to turn off evade, being able to turn off nodes like hazard shift, things like that, just makes him, you know, very flexible, very nice to use. I'm gonna let him hit me. Then we'll take the damage back. Oops. There we go. Yeah, I know you got a awakened one. I think I've got 4 awakened right now. 7 stars. Let's see. Yeah, I've got Bishop, who's probably going up to R2. I've got War Machine, who's not terrible, but, you know, just not the greatest champ in the world. Yeah, Gilly 2099 and Sauron. And Sauron, to me, is the one that is the most surprising. He's probably my favorite of the 7 stars right now. He is in Battlegrounds. He's my Nick Fury killer. I think I can kill people with him, kill Nick Fury with Sauron faster than even, you know, Toad or you know, Bishop or anybody else. You know, you get get him to 10 prowess, drop that special 2, and it just melts him. You know, he does gain back that second life that you can sometimes cut out with Toad if you get the timing right. But man, you know, he just hits and hits hard. You know, especially as a rank 2, and that's probably part of it. I think almost all rank 2s hit fairly hard as 7 stars. You know, whoops, even War Machine hits pretty decent. You know, just at rank 1, you know, you're seeing 7k medium. So I mean, it's not that he is a bad champ by any stretch of the imagination. I do like his special 1 with mutants that you can remove the prowess. It'll probably be handy at some point in time this season. You know, and in the next meta in BGs where they've got the, I think what is it, aggression prowess and, you know, just the same prowess that's on there now. So any champ that can remove those is going to be good. You know, your Mystic champs will be good for the next meta, I would think. But, you know, Bishop is one of those. I've got him as an R4 Sig 200 5-star. You know, and I see people do things with him. You know, I watch Legacy play his R2, and it is just the difference, I guess, between my R1 and R4 and R2 is just huge. You know, I'm seeing, you know, 50, 60-second kills on Nick Furies with them, and I can't do that. I don't ever have the luck with the crits to be able to get that timing down. You know, I'll get the 40 prowess build up and no crits on the specials, and ends up taking me 3-4 special twos to kill a Nick Fury, and I'm watching other people do it in one for the first life and one for the second life. And Gore is one of my more recent ones. I think, as far as Cosmics go, he may be the one I end up taking up. I'd love to awaken him before I take him up to R2. Not so much for attack, although he can do some nice things. He's just one of those annoying defenders. I think this past war season, he was on the shared fight at the end of the path 7, 8, and 9 in section 2 more times than I care to think about, and I struggled. And that was a fight that was assigned to me a couple times. Tried a couple different champs. Had the one eye open on there, so you couldn't really stun him and do any damage. So my favorite counter to use against him is Chavez. So you couldn't really use her because a lot of her damage comes from that heavy, which throws on that stun. So couldn't use that. I know I tried Hood one fight, and unfortunately died 3 times to the same fight. We tried a couple different. I am not a Tigra player, and that is by far the best option for that fight. We do have a Tigra player now in the battle group, which is nice. I know you can use long shot. We were able to do it successfully with that. Didn't try Spidey Supreme, although I heard you could use him. Wiccan is another good option for him, but didn't really have a ranked up Wiccan. So it was just one that I struggled with, and then eventually just said, heck no. And there's Yusafa. Good morning, sir. How are you? You guys are all joining right at the end. Going to be wrapping up here shortly. I've got a couple more rounds of arena to do, and then time to jump in to do some work, and then I'll be back probably tomorrow morning around 8 o'clock Eastern time. Kind of once everybody in my household gets settled and on their way to work or school. That way there's not a whole lot of background noise. Yeah, Wiccan is good for those fights that he's good for. When they don't have a lot of buffs, he's just not one of those champs that is very useful for much. So I haven't really ranked him up. My most recent rank up, I took Black Widow Clairvoyant. Mainly, she's going to be for Alliance War Defense this season, but she's one of my favorite Mystic champions. Between her being able to nullify that, making them buff immune for a while, just is such a nice feature. And then you tack onto it. I love running the recoil mastery so that you can easily shrug off the bleed, shrug off the poison. She can apply bleeds, poisons, incinerate. So all right, let's get this last round. I need that loyalty crystal to come today, so I have even teams for my 7 stars to run through arena. I'll take one more champ to rank 4 for another set of even teams there for my 6 stars. Makes it nice and easy and symmetrical, which I like. And Yusafa, I don't know if you saw in the chat, your Alliance War defense this season is just disgustingly good. I am so glad that you're on our side. Hopefully, Clown gives us some good placements. probably, here sometime this week, I'll get my webcam set up. Right now it's set up for the conference calls I have to do at work, so it's on a different monitor and not kind of right in front of me, and not going to subject people to the side of my head at the moment. But we'll get that turned on and all that. Still got to get kind of my office set up a little bit better. I've got to get a couple pictures back behind me and all that, but it'll be good enough. But I think that's it. I think I'm done with Alliance Quest. Yep, we are done there. Got my defense place for Alliance War. Let's see, when's my first meeting? 20 minutes. Let's go ahead and just try and run one battleground, see how we do this morning, see if I can lose some of the 140 points that I've got racked up on it. And you guys can laugh and see how bad I am at these. I turn into, if there's not people in my house, I turn into taters a lot when I'm playing VGs. I am very competitive and like to win, and yeah, you would hear things that most people wouldn't expect to come out of my mouth. All right. Let's see what we got. It'll be different too because I don't have sound on right now, so I'm used to playing these with sound. Well, we're going to get rid of Tigra. Generally, I find people that have a high-ranked Tigra and know how to play Tigra. I don't really have a good Maul counter in my deck, so I've just been banning him. And let's get rid of, that's an Awakened 7-star Domino. Gets rid of mine at the same time, but yeah, you know what, now I'm going to leave her. Let's get rid of Guardian, since I don't have him in my deck. Yeah, the new meta is going to be interesting. Not sure what I'm going to do yet with it. Let's go there, and yeah, I could ban Ronin. I've got him in my deck. I've got an R3 Sig 200. I'm not banning Ronin and getting rid of him. I'll take my chances that he pulls it pulls out his 5-star. There's enough counters that you can put out there that can trap him. You can do a little bit of a Ronin trap, with some champs, so he's not always a sure thing. And there we go. There's the Sauron. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and put my Ronin out and make him come up with somebody. Really need to get a couple more defenders. I got Domino I could throw on defense. I could put Scorp on defense, but I like using him on attack more. Wow, an Ascended Magic in here. I haven't seen one of those in BGs yet. I've seen a lot of Ascended Magics, just not in running in Battlegrounds. Okay, so we're going to do Kate. I love using her. And not seeing any science champs over there yet, so let's go ahead with Rintra. And of course, always works. The second you put somebody out there that you think you're going to use on defense, they get the counter. All right, let's go ahead and see who's he got over here. Kind of need somebody for that magic, so let's go ahead and take that one. And we'll do Iron Man in there. I figured I'd see a Nova. Let's see. Don't know if I can run a Nova or not. I'm going to try it. So we're going to go ahead and let him go with Rintra. Should be able to run in Nova. I'm not sure. Between his buffs and the prowess, I should be able to. We'll find out. chip damages. Yep, there we go. Oh, was not expecting that. I guess you can't. Well, that sucks. Did not expect that. All right, well, let's look and see what we can do in the next rounds. I think next round I'll put Domino down. He'll have to most likely use Warlock. I'm guessing he's going to throw his Domino down. I'll use Iron Man. If he throws down Hercules, may go with Kate if he throws down Hercules. And then the last round, I will use Sauron on defense. And I'm not sure who we'd use for the counter there. So still in pretty good shape, even though that round probably going to end up being a loss. Surprised he's taking that long with Scorpion. Maybe my cow can do something and hold him off. But even if he, didn't figure that was going to end much different than that. Just figured it would end quicker. Okay, so to add to my notes, you can't Ronin Nova. All right, let's go ahead and put Domino down. He's going to run Kingpin. Well, that's an easy. We'll throw Sauron down then. And that's the Warlock play that I figured he'd do. And I should, there should be some chip damage and things like that, and I should hopefully be able to finish this fight fairly close to a full yellow bar unless I completely mess it up. All right, there we go. Thank you. Okay, one more. Throw your special. Do a medium, light, medium. Do special 2. Did not have my prowess up for that, which stinks. Okay, one more special out of you. There we go. Thank you for throwing that. And this will finish him off. There we go. Not as quick as I've done that fight sometimes, but I do like Sauron. He is a very surprisingly good champ on attack. All right. So let's see who he places. Like I said, he's probably going to go with Domino. I'm going to go with Iron Man if he does. If he puts down Hercules, probably run Kate. I'm going to run Scorp on defense most likely. And hope for Scorpion to pull some of his crap with an evade. Okay, so he is running that. Yeah, we're going to go Scorpion. Okay, he's running Domino against it, so got to look out for a big special 2. Let's go ahead and put Cold Snap on Kate, and Cryo Arrow. And now I just have to be careful and remember I can't stun him after I knock him down. Refresh the Cold Snap, get a taunt up on him. One more Cold Snap on him. Okay. finish off his first life, or his main life, I guess. Throw him into there, and let's go ahead and now hopefully be able to wait this out. And there we go. It's about as good as I can do that fight. I don't know if it's going to be quick enough, but we'll see. Whew. Just barely. Wow. That's a pretty good scorpion fight on his part. Like I said, you know, I think Justin may have been the only one in here earlier. That is how my BG fights go. If I finish at 99.8% health, I lose. You know, it is, for some reason, I always end up with fights that if I'm not perfect or do things, you know, as smooth as possible, I end up losing. That's one of the rare rounds that I can look at and say, you know, maybe if I did finish at, you know, 99% health or something like that, I lose. You know, I had to be 100% perfect, and I've run into that more often than I care to think about, but I think that is a good stopping point for me for the stream. So do want to thank those of you that did jump in and join, those that watched and didn't chat. I appreciate it, and we will see you again soon. Thanks a lot.